What's up, guys? My name is Elias, and I officially turned 30 this May. So, as a lover of comic books and comic book movies, I decided to watch, review, and rank every single live action, theatrically released Marvel and DC film dating as far back as the 1950s to now in this series I call The Road to 30. Today, we're talking about 1987's Superman 4 The Quest for Peace.
Superman 4.
Now, out of the Christopher Reeve series, and this is the movie that Christopher Reeve essentially wanted to make as his final return to the character. And I think it plays exactly how I would want it to as a movie from the 80s. And I think I love not only how corny it is, because that's like a lot of movies from the 80s. But I think Christopher Reeve really kind of embodied this character one last time in a good way. This was a time when nuclear war was essentially an actual threat to humanity. I mean, it still is. Anybody could drop a nuke on us at any time. But I like that Christopher Reeve wanted Superman to be like, you know what? I do want to end the arms race. I want to end the nuclear race. I don't want any nukes on this planet anymore. And he goes to destroy them, which evidently creates his enemy for the movie. But more on that in a little bit. I just love that this is a Superman-centric story. Now, look, the editing is terrible. He gains powers out of nowhere. These powers are nonsensical. They reuse a lot of the flying of the same fly. No, actually, matter of fact, I think they do reuse the same flying shot for like 95% of the movie of Superman going like this. The writing is obviously corny. The plot is kind of dumb once Nuclear Man, who's his enemy that he accidentally creates, once Nuclear Man actually comes onto the scene, doesn't I mean Lex Luthor's schemes this time around is not necessarily for world domination or real estate like it usually is. I mean, he just kind of wants money at this point, being sprung out of jail and whatnot from his nephew, who ends up, by the way, John Cryer, his nephew Lenny, he ends up playing Lex Luthor in the CW in the future. So I mean, like, that's a cool first full circle moment. But I just love that. Yes, this was a technically bad final outing for Christopher Reeve Superman, but I do love that you can tell how much passion and how much love he has for the character in this movie. And for me, I think that's what would put it above Superman 3, for example, simply because, like, even though Superman 3 is probably technically better, Superman 4 plays like an actual Superman movie, which I've said this a few times already in this video alone. So I won't say it again. I'm just saying I do dig that aspect of it. Again, where it falters though is in the editing, the effects, the stupid powers, the plot points that just zoom from one thing to the next. Like, Superman gets scratched in his first battle with Nuclear Man, and then he ends up getting sick. And then off screen, we don't even see how he healed or anything, but he gets like this like little powwow speech from Lois, and then he ends up, being good again, Superman again. There's also a scene where we do this flight with Lois thing again, and it's like a nice little, oh wow, it's reminiscent of the first movie. And he's asking her for advice, and she's helping, and she's like, oh, I'm so glad that you were able to trust me with your identity. And then he kisses her again like he does in Superman 2 and erases her memory again. Why are we doing that? what are we doing here? Like, just let her know your secret. She's not gonna tell anybody. And yeah, this movie does hinge on the action, essentially, of the fight between Nuclear Man and Superman, and just like Superman being the symbol of hope to everyone around the world, especially during this whole nuclear arms race going on. I like that. I do like that. I just don't think it was executed well at all. The director this time around, Sidney J. Furie, I mean, he was known for making, very low budget films, and, kind of turning a profit with those low budget films. So I mean, it was easy to do that with Superman, right? But the thing is like, when you're going on your final outing for a Superman movie, and granted, it wasn't even really his fault how this movie turned out, because they cut the budget like right before they even started filming, so they had to take out a bunch of action scenes, a bunch of special effects shots, and that just kind of sucks when the studios interfere and they ruin a product that could have been something really, really cool. So all that to say, I don't hate this movie. I actually kind of enjoy it whenever I do put it on. It does drag a bit, even though it's only like an hour and a half long. It does feel a little too long. Honestly, you probably could have cut like another 10, 15 minutes out of this movie. and it would flow a little bit better. But again, I mean, the editing in itself is just terrible because it doesn't explain the plot thoroughly. It doesn't really have anything going for it story wise, besides Superman just wanting to end nukes and stuff like that. And then at the end of the movie, though, it is a good message where he's just like, "Hey, you know what? It's not my responsibility to end everything. It's up to the people. The people need to fight for what's right, stuff like that." Enjoyable enough movie for the 80s, especially for the final outing of Christopher Reeve as Superman. Overall, I think I'm gonna give this movie probably C minus. It's 1.5 out of 5. 3 out of 10. Look, there's clearly better Superman movies out there. This is not my Superman movie. Christopher Reeve is not even my Superman. But I do appreciate that this fourth movie at least harkened back to the first one in the sense of being a true blue Superman movie. I have my gripes with Superman 2. Clearly, Superman 2 is a way better movie than Superman 4. But I like Superman 4 over 3 because it does just feel like a genuine attempt to bring this character, do justice to this character, and allow Christopher Reeve to really cook and like kind of go out with a bang as Superman. And I think that that's what gives it an edge too, is that this is the last time we see him in the blue and red. It's sad what happened to him afterwards. The tragedy with his horse accident, and then he was paralyzed from the neck down, and it's just kind of like a bittersweet movie where just imagine none of that happened, and then he was able to actually do the cameo in The Flash, for example, and Helen Slater came out to do the cameo for that too. I think there's a lot of missed opportunities wherein we could have had, even Christopher Reeve meet Michael Keaton's Batman or something, something cool like that. And I just think that the movies did decline since the first one. I mean, you had Mario Puzo as the writer for the first one, who wrote The Godfather. You have Richard Donner, who's a very prolific director, actually taking the material seriously. You got Marlon Brando as Jor-El. All of that made that first movie just like a great classic. And then I just think the quality declined from there, and that's just kind of upsetting. But I do like that Superman 4 at least was a return to form, and I can't hate on it completely. It's a schlocky, good, guilty pleasure kind of time. But that's it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button and get in my comments with your thoughts on 1987's Superman 4, as well as what movie you're excited for me to review next, whether it's from Marvel or DC. But until next time, guys, take care and God bless.